Hey, today I want to go through a couple of Cisco Catalyst switch upgrades, upgrading the software on some iOS XE switches, which we've just pulled out of a customer site, and we've erased the configuration. And before we're going to commit it to e-waste, we just want to go through some software upgrades, both using the bundle mode and the install mode. Now, there's two ways of upgrading these switches. One of them's bundle mode and install mode. These iOS XE switches. Now, bundle mode is the traditional way of doing it, whereby you upload one file, the .bin file, which you get from Cisco's website, and then you upload that to you need the correct model and for your switch. You upload the bin file and you point the configuration to boot off that file, and the switch will come up with that version of software. And if you have multiple switches in a stack, you should have the same bin file on all those switches. With install mode, that's the preferred way now. So you actually start off with the bin file, which we got from Cisco's website, and after checking it's a clean file using the verify command, we run a special command to extract that file, that bin file, into separate little .package files. And it does it all together using that magic command. And then we point the configuration and tell the switch to auto boot, and it'll boot up with that new version, and it'll come up in install mode. And it's more leaner mode, and it's better for the memory management on the switch. And it's the preferred way of doing it, especially when you have a stack where you add new stack members or replace stack members. The new member will download the image from the stack itself if it's in install mode. So that's the preferred way of doing it now. But we'll do both ways. Now let's have a look at our first switch. So we just pulled out this switch. It's a standalone switch. Let's do a chauffeur. Okay, so we see here it's a Cisco Catalyst 3850 switch. So we see here it's a Cisco Catalyst 3850 switch running version 16.3.6. So how do we know if it's in boot mode or install mode? We can see here from the chauffeur, it tells us here. That's one bit of information. It's telling us exactly that it's in install mode already. But also there's another way we can also tell it's from the boot file. Now, the boot file is packages.conf. It tells you here. So there's two places we can see that it's in. The image file is packages.conf. It's looking on the flash for packages.conf rather than a bin file. And here as well, the second place is here. We can see mode install. So it's actually telling us the switch is in install mode. Okay, now also a third way we can check, because you've got to be, as an engineer, very paranoid that everything's lining up. So we booted the switch up, and we're saying it's in install mode. And if it's in install mode, we should be expecting to see all these 16.3.6 package files here. Okay, and as we can see, yeah, there's a couple of package files here, 16.3.6. So definitely the switch is in install mode, and these files on the flash, these little package files. And you notice there may or may not be a bin file here. In this case, there's no bin file that's been left on the flash. Maybe due to maybe a lack of space, the administrator took the bin file off the flash, which is fine if it's in install mode. If it's in package mode, if the switch is in bundle mode, it would have a problem. If you don't have the bin file on the flash, the switch won't boot. If the correct bin file is not on the flash that the configuration is pointing to. But in install mode, it's no problem booting here without the .bin file, because it's already been extracted into the smaller files, which the configuration which are loaded on boot up. Okay, with which this one is the biggest package file, the core software module of the switch software. Now, the package file is the important file here, the packages.conf file, which is this guy here. So let's have a look at that more. Packages.conf file. So the switch is looking for this file when it boots. So to say what package am I going to boot from? And here's where it knows. Okay, for the core, it's going to use this file. Okay, for the daemons, it's going to use the same core file, etc., etc. The web UI, it'll load this if we're going to use web UI. So that's how the system knows which packages to boot from. We may have multiple packages on this switch. Okay, in order, it'll use the first one. So you may have another version of packages on the switch, and all in the one packages.conf file. So we could have, say, 16.3.7, which may be listed down here. In that case, it'll boot off the first one it finds. So this one here. So always good to check if you're coming up to a switch to drill down into this packages.conf file and see what exactly it's going to boot from. Okay, so what we want to do now, we're going to do a simple upgrade. We're going to go from the install mode, which is already the mode with the Cisco Denali software 16.3.6, and we're going to upgrade it to bundle mode, but bin, bundle, bin, boot off the bin file. So that's how I remember it. Remember what I said before, but bundle, but bin, the old way, with just the one bin file. So we're going to download that bin from Cisco and check, we're going to go through this stuff, just check the file size, etc., just to make sure we've got a clean file. Upload that file once we got it to the switch, check it's clean, and then point the configuration to boot from that new file and reboot the switch, and it'll come up with the new version in bundle mode. So we go to Cisco's website and we download the file, which is this one, because we're still using the 3850s, and this is the correct version for the model we've got. So you just follow the bouncing ball down to what we want, and 16.6.10. But when I say we need to make a note, this is what I'm talking about. You just hover over the image file, which is in the green part here, and it'll tell you, the size and the checksum. So we want to note this stuff, just how the size we should see on the flash and the checksums. Okay, so now we've got the bin file. I've downloaded the actual. There's a couple of bin files we've got, and this is the one we're going to apply first, the 16.6.10. Okay, so it's about nearly 400 gig. Sorry, 400 meg, nearly 400 meg. So let's just check and also my IP address is 100.50. So we've got a TFTP from this machine here, 100.50, to the switch here. Now the switch doesn't have an IP address yet. Let's just check show IP in brief. I got one via DHCP, so it did get an IP address in the 100 network, which is fine. So I don't have to go in there and give it an IP. So it's already got one. But if we wanted to, we can just go into that VLAN. Show run in VLAN 1. It's on DHCP. Just I wanted to give it a different IP just for fun. On the same VLAN, on the same subnet as 192.168.100. So it's IP address 192.168.100.5 255.255.255.0. Okay, so if we go show IP brief again, which is a TFTP, got 100. Which is this PC, and we can ping it. So I want to upload it to the switch. So it's about 400 meg. Let's just check the flash of this switch. we've already, oh geez, excuse me, got the same files as before, right? And we have plenty of room on the flash, right? We've got about 900, 900, nearly 1 gig on the flash. So we've got enough room. So let's upload. I'm serving via TFTP this file using the TFTP server on the workstation. So copy from TFTP down to the flash. The address of the remote host, which is the PC. So on the switch, we're telling it where to get the file from. And the file name, which we copied before. And we want to leave it that name when it uploads it to the switch. So let's just let that run. Okay, now this file's finished copying. We've got this many bytes. Now remember before when we downloaded the file from Cisco's website, we did the screenshot of the details. Now let's just see if that lines up. The 4074 blah 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 066. That looks good. Okay. Now let's verify the file as well. So that's one check. That checked out the file size, which is pretty good. It's also good practice to just, doesn't hurt to do both checks. Okay, ending triple B2 starting with B36. Okay. So here we go, triple B2, B36. So that file's clean. If there's no boot system command, it's going to use the install mode and use the packages.conf file. The boot system flash colon. Okay, that's it. Save that. Oop, do it right. Let's just make sure that we've the command's in there, the boot command. With the new version in there. Now let's reload the switch. Now it should reload with the with the right version in bundle mode. 16610 in bundle mode. Stand by. Okay, this switch has been upgraded now. Let's go back and have a look. Took a while, about 10 minutes, all the programming with ASICs, etc. So now here we are, and do a chauffeur. And now we are in bundle mode. Okay. And also the file we booted from is not packages.conf. The system image file is this guy. Okay, so what we want to do in this exercise, we've got the software upgraded in bundle mode with the single bin file. Now we want to convert it to install mode. So if we want to make it stackable, it's more cleaner to do it that way. And the recommended way for Cisco is to use install mode wherever possible. And there's no real reason I think you'd want to use bin. So unless you've got a good reason, I'd recommend switching everything to install mode. But with everything, we've got to always back up the configuration first, and we're going to go follow these steps here and get straight into it. Let's just check our switch chauffeur. Should be in bundle mode using the .bin file. Okay. Which is specified here. Okay. And it's on the flash. And it's in the boot variable. Show run include boot. We set our boot system config command. And that's where we're pointing to. But what we want to do, because we're in bundle mode, I want to run it in install mode. So what it'll do is remove, it'll use this bin file to create all the different packages. go into install mode. Right now, we do have an old install mode on the switch because we did upgrade from an earlier version. So if we look on the flash, we see all this old stuff. So we're on 16.6.10 now. There's all this old 16.3.6 stuff. I want to clean that up. We could do it manually, remove all these .package files, and remove the the packages.com file, or clean it up. Or a more elegant way, we can use the install command to actually remove that stuff. So we can use install and say remove the inactive image. Let's kind of think about it, and it should be looking at removing the 16.3.6. Here we go. So it knows we're on 16.6.10, and it's removing the old file. So we'll just let that run. Now it's detected that it's got the 16.3.6 packages there, and it's asking me, do you want me to delete? And I'll say yes. So let's clean it up. Let's have a look at the flash. So dir, but we're still checking whether it's deleted the 16.3.6 stuff and recovered some flash for us, which is great. Because what we're going to do now, we're going to install this, go from bundle mode into install mode. So it's going to use this bin file and extract it into the component package files. Okay, so now we've cleaned up the flash. What we'd like to do is run the bin file using the install command. So what we need to do is, first of all, we want to boot from the packages.com file, because we want to go from bundle bin mode to install mode. So we need to go into configuration mode and boot system /packages.conf. So this is the command that helps us go into install mode. So that's the first stage of it. Now we've got to say no boot manual. So auto boot, basically. We want to auto boot. This is important because if we don't do that, we're going to have to manually boot the router once we restart it, or the switch rather. And if you're remote, you're not going to be able to do that unless you have console access. So this is a very important command. These two commands, very important commands. They're the first two steps in converting to install mode from bundle mode. So let's just write this change. Okay. Just check, we'll do a show boot to see what the boot variable is. Okay, it's pointing to packages.conf. That's good. Now we've got to create the packages.conf because there's no packages on here now. Okay, we're going to have to extract this file and create the package out of it for this version. So this is the bin file for bundle mode, but we're going to have to extract it into install mode, create the .package files, and then it'll do two things. We run this command, it'll extract it into the packages, into the individual packages, the core, the web UI, etc. And then it'll also modify the packages.conf file and point it to these new packages. So we just do it all in one command. It's very easy to do. So we just go install, add, file, flash, the image name of the bin file we're working on. We want to activate that and commit it to the packages.conf file. So now it's going to go ahead and do its thing. It's going to create all those out of that big 400 meg file. Will probably prompt us to reboot as well. The upgrades looks like it's completed now. Let's see what we got. Over. I'm expecting to see install mode. Here we go. Perfect. So it looks like it's upgraded successfully. Let's have a look at dir. Let's have a look on the flash. Let's make sure our packages are all there, which they would have, otherwise this wouldn't have worked. 16610 packages, there we go. Excellent stuff. And if we look in our packages.conf, it'll be pointing to these exact packages, the core and the web UI, etc. The install command did all this automatically. It extracted these individual packages onto the flash and then pointed them inside the packages.conf file, which we are booting from. They're pointing here. They are pointing to the packages on the flash. Okay, so now we have our switch upgraded. Let's have a look. We've only got one switch here. I want to add another switch into the mix, and let's stack them. All right. Let's see. Show switch. The stack ports. The stack port on this switch is down. Let's debug platform. All. Okay. Let's just have a look here, and let's plug another switch in and see what happens. With the stack port at the back. There we go. Now we've got two switches here. One of them's on a version mismatch. So I guess it's upgrading at the moment. So it's auto upgrading switch 2 to switch 1 from switch 1. Okay, so we can do show switch. Oops, sorry. Exit show switch. Saying version mismatch, but it's in the process of upgrading, as we can see here. Let's have a look now. Finally, it's taken about 15-20 minutes now. Switch has come up finally. Now there we go. Now we can show IP in brief just to check the interfaces. So port 101, that's where we're plugged in. So that's main switch. And now we see switch 2, port 1, 2, 3. So that's all looking good. It's all been added properly.